Hello, and welcome back to ShrubSMP Season 7. This is episode 33, and I am just kind of flying around after having recently upgraded the server to version 1.21.10, the big update for the Copper Age. And that brings us right back here to the Dark Castle. And fortunately, because as we see right down at the bottom of that hole there, the mod of the Dark Castle was initially conceived as part of the Trial Chamber update. It seems like forever ago, because that update was quite some time ago. And we've been slowly making progress here on the inside of the Dark Castle. The last episode, we put down this copper floor with these lights. And now that we are in the Copper Age, we have a few more copper things that we're going to bring in. And I won't want to waste any time at all and get started by bringing out today's special guest, the star of the update, and that is the Copper Golem. So, in just a few moments, I have to go find myself a pumpkin because I never really made a pumpkin farm here on this server for myself. And then, of course, we have blocks of copper, and we'll make a Copper Golem. We'll quickly demonstrate how it works, and then maybe kind of figure out what kind of plans we can use for them here inside the Dark Castle. So, all that and more, just kind of really getting started here today for the first time. I don't really know else what to expect, but I'm just gonna get right into it. So let me go find that pumpkin and then we'll be right back. Alright, well, I'm not flying very far. As you can see right behind me, my next door neighbor here does have some farmers and a little wheat farm down there, so I know that if I check in on their farmers and see what kind of crops they were growing up here this whole time, maybe we'll get lucky. We're in the clouds. Okay, the carrot men. And if we can see through the cloud cover there, there are only carrots in this farm. It is kind of funny to have the clouds in Minecraft when they're right on level with something you built. Sometimes people have them on, sometimes they have them off. But I digress. If I can see through that cloud. No pumpkins here is kind of the bottom line, and we're going to have to head off to our next destination to see if we can find some. I also think somewhere nearby, yes, right over there, the Bobby mod, which gives us increased render distance, is so useful. Way off in the distance, which you can see with the rendering, is one of the early episodes, is my original starter base, where I got started in this world, collecting up all of the things I needed to kind of get my armor and tools together for the first time in this village. And it looks like I've grown all the crops except pumpkins. I have sugarcane, I have beetroot, carrots and potatoes, I got wheat, and I think I saw there's definitely some melons over there, but no pumpkins. What was I thinking? You know, it's funny, I almost always have a pumpkin farm early on in the world, as this guy's he's a farmer too, he's wondering where my pumpkins are. I'm like, look dude, I don't have any pumpkins, so that means we're going to have to fly and find some wild pumpkins out in the wilderness, and who knows how long that's going to take. I think what I'm going to be looking for is spruce areas, because I do know wild pumpkins do grow around spruce biomes. So I'm going to keep flying for a while. We'll see if we can find some and check in when I do. Be right back. Alright, well, it turns out I haven't even been flying that far, but I've already come across someone's little starter area here on the server. I never noticed before. It was not very far from where I was, but I can see there are some jack-o'-lanterns here. Now, these are the lit jack-o'-lanterns. They won't function for creating a Copper Golem, although I really like their little fishing area here that they built. We do see that there are some. Now, I could take one of these if I want. This has likely been abandoned for some time. Meow's stuff, let's see, it looks like it's pretty barren in there, but at the same time, you know, no matter how long a server's been going and whether or not players have been missing or just abandoned after a while or moved on to new things, you never really want to disturb their builds, even if they haven't been touched in a while. So we're not going to take one of these carved pumpkins. We're going to go look for some wild pumpkins, look for that spruce area, and see if we can find some. So I'm going to keep flying around, look for that, and we'll be back as soon as we do find one. Alright, well, continuing to fly around, one thing as we can see dead ahead there, shipwrecks in ice is always a fun little kind of feature to see, naturally generated, but really the reason I started recording is because I did find that spruce area, and I do see a spruce village just off in the distance, and my suspicion is that there should be pumpkins growing, and yes, there's some orange. There they are. Alright, so we definitely have some pumpkins growing. we're going to have to relieve if there's still any villagers around here. I'm sure they won't mind because they just love farming. We're going to go ahead and take some wild pumpkins from this village. And who knows, you know, I still can't get over the fact that I have never really had any pumpkins. I always have pumpkins early in every world that I play in. But since these are the first ones, maybe I'll have to start like 6 classers wild pumpkins shop or something like that. Or maybe like special pumpkin. I'll create the farm and then we'll make them like extra special gourmet wild pumpkins or something like that. But in the meantime, we're going to need 1 or 2 of these to carve so that we can make the Copper Golem when we get back to the Dark Castle. So that's a good start, having 10 of them. We'll fly away before one of the villagers come after us and wonder why we stole that. But little do they know, like I said, I think we're going to wind up starting some gourmet goods once we get this Copper Golem going. So I will meet you back at the Dark Tower and we'll show exactly what the next step is in creating that Copper Golem. Alright, well, we're back here in the storage area in the Dark Castle, and that is exactly where you want to be when you're talking about Copper Golems, because the primary purpose of a Copper Golem is to sort and... well, sort. To go through boxes and chests and to be able to move items into them from one place to the other. So we're definitely going to figure out what we can do with that in the future because our storage system's still in the process of getting filled up and getting ready for action. And I want to be able to incorporate these guys for their primary purpose into the whole system. But for the time being, we definitely want to demonstrate how they work, how you create one, and then what kind of fun things we can do with them right off the bat. So to create one, it's quite simple. You just have a block of copper, and we're going to put on not a whole pumpkin. Well, we'll put the pumpkin on its head first. And if I have some shears, which I do, you shear the pumpkin, and lo and behold, yes, there is our new cute little fella. There he is on top. Oh, hello, buddy. Oh, and he's already going into the chest. So let's see what's happening here. So when they spawn, the block turns into a copper chest. And then, of course, the Copper Golem gets spawned and created, and they start roaming around, and every so often, they'll go looking into this chest. This operates pretty much like a regular chest, except it's made out of copper, which means it'll start to oxidize over time, as will our new little friend here, but we'll get to that in just a short while. So what I want to do now is I got to give this guy a place to kind of roam around, and what I kind of envisioned is he could be like a little sentinel, kind of walking back and forth at the entrance to the storage area here. But to do that, I'm going to need another copper chest. So if I go to my crafting table here, see if I have the recipe. For copper, there should be a whole bunch more things. Is it part of the new recipe? I know it exists somewhere. I could be calling me a liar. Alright, maybe I have to unlock the recipes, so I'm going to go ahead and create some copper ingots. And there are some new recipes. Oh, we see all those tools and armor too. So of course, there are a few more things which we'll get to during this episode called copper bars and copper chains and copper nuggets and all kind of other copper items. But now let's see if we have the oh, there they are, the tools and armor. Where's the darn chest? I've been looking for it here. As I'm talking, I can't find it. Now I'm really going to have to go in and figure out exactly how to make one because this is embarrassing. And indeed, I found the recipe on the Minecraft wiki that needs to be discovered first. Alright, well, after looking it up, I still don't understand why I don't have the recipe, but I'm going to go ahead and try to put a chest into my inventory, see if that changes things. It doesn't. Allegedly. Let's check one more time. Copper? Still don't see the chest anywhere. This is very interesting. Maybe it's one of those hidden recipes. There are hidden recipes, but to be able to do this, you basically surround one chest. Well, there it is. There's the recipe. Maybe if I make one. Alright, it was a hidden recipe. I'm a professional Minecrafter. I know what I'm doing. I've been playing this game forever. Well, at least we have one. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way and I have 2 copper chests, you ask, what am I going to do with them? Well, this dude has been just keep going in here, finding himself an empty chest, and I want to keep it that way because what will happen is if he finds an item, or any item, in this chest, he will then start going around the nearest X number, which I believe is 10, but again, I've gone already found myself foolish, so don't quote me on that. A number of chests nearby to try to find a matching item. And if he does find one, he'll start sorting that item between the chest and the copper chest. We're going to leave him empty for the time being, but this also means we can probably make him go between 2 chests, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this one up for just a quick moment. I'm going to put it over here and put that one over there. And he is headed that way. This is the new one that I just made. And he's going to open that. He's going to find that there's nothing in there. Do a little spin, do a little dance, and he's going to start walking towards the other one. Perfect. All right, well, mission accomplished after some Minecraft mayhem there. But we are going to have this dude walking back and forth. Now that I've kind of demonstrated how to get one in the world, I really do have to figure out the mechanics about how to make it work with the chests and with the storage system. So I'm just going to have him walking back and forth in the meantime. I think he's not going to get into any more trouble over there. He's looking and he's thinking about it. Okay, he goes back to the chest twice. So that's kind of a new thing I'm just learning here on the fly. They checked the chest twice, nothing there. Time to go check the other one. So now that we got this guy here, I think it's time to explore some of the other copper items that we saw here in the crafting table that did get created the way that they were supposed to. So one of the things, I mean, obviously there's a lot of copper trim involved here, like we said earlier, because we built the Dark Castle all around the trial chambers, which are primarily made of copper. But I also want to increase that. So you kind of look at the chains up there, those regular iron chains. Well, if I'm not mistaken, chain, yes. The copper chain can be made with a couple copper nuggets and a copper ingot. So let's see if we can make a couple of those, and then we will quickly go ahead and replace those chains with some copper chains to kind of give the feel on the inside. And we're going to do that in a couple other places here in the Dark Castle and showcase some of these new items at the same time. Alright, so we've thrown up some scaffolding, and all we have to do is make a couple of these chains. We'll just make 2, maybe actually 4. I think there's 2 up there each. And as we can see, got those new recipes unlocked and completed for the first time up in the top right corner. So now all we have to do is take down, it looks like I'm going to need a couple more because there were 3 here. 1, 2, 3, and let's collect these iron chains. Nice. Hop back in. Oh, fell down. Okay, no big deal. Well, look at that. It stands out. Now, that's kind of bright, but again, much like everything copper, that will oxidize over time and start to turn into the different shades of the copper chains. And when we get to ones that we like, we can wax them into place. So that's exactly what we'll do. But for the meantime, again, just replacing these trims, and then we're going to head on into the storage system, or at least the sorting system in the next room, and look at some of the bars there were there as well, because we had a bunch of iron bars there, and I think it's about time we could probably replace those as well. You can see them right there, but first we'll clean up this mess. We'll see what it takes then to build, or to craft, a set of bars. Where are they? Right there. Copper bars. All right, so 6 copper ingots give us 16 bars. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to have to need a few more of those. So let's see if I can grab a handful. I think that should be enough. I didn't quite... Oh, gosh. That sometimes you make too many. Oh, well, mistake. But that's okay. At least we know we have enough. And we'll put them in our offhand and then just go into the next room here. And now one of the tricky things is I do not want any of these things to fly into the sorting system here and clog it all up. So we're just going to have to be careful to grab them as they pop off. Perfect. And then we'll quick take some down here on one side just to illustrate what it looks... Oh, we took out the wall. That's okay. Put the wall back. Oh, we put it back in the wrong spot. This is Minecraft. There we go. Okay. And now all you got to do is just, again, place it in the wrong spot. Place these all along. We missed one here. We're doing a fantastic job replacing these things. What am I doing here today? But just trying to illustrate how to take down something and then put up something new in its place, which is one of, again, I've said this many times, is especially in a long world that's been going on for some time, where you have multiple updates and all these... Ooh, I went into the water there. When you have all these new updates and all kind of new blocks to choose from, you can revisit a build and kind of make it look a little different. So if I look here off to the corner, I can see, you know, the iron bars had their time. It weren't really lasted a long time, but with this copper improvement, it certainly fits the overall theme of what's happening in here. So we're going to go ahead and replace all of them and then let them continue to oxidize, and at some point we'll choose the right state. I kind of like the number 2 state where it's just right after being fresh here. It's a little, oh look, there's some right in front of me. I'm standing on them now. They've already oxidized a little bit. That color, I like that one very much, and we'll probably let those bars and chains get to that state before we wax them. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and replace all of these, and then we'll see what else we can do before the end of this episode. Again, just a couple little random things here and there to get things started now that I've upgraded the server. Don't quite have all of my editing tools yet, which is why we're probably not going to be able to have any time lapses or cinematics. That tool is still in the progress of being updated to 1.21.10. But as I look for my copper bars, again, we'll replace all these and then see what we can do next. I think my last measure of business might be to go back to the second floor and add a new machine there. Well, kind of a rudimentary machine, but with all this copper, we really could use some smelting. And while I have an idea for an automatic smelter that'll probably take a little bit to build, I'm going to put just a early level one. We'll show you how to put that together and how it works, and probably end the episode from there. So I'll be right back after I get those materials, see you on the second floor, and we'll build that thing up. Alright, well, I have a box full of materials up here, and we've kind of laid out a couple chests. What we're going to do is we're going to quick make that smelter system, and this one's going to be very basic, and then probably next episode I'll have a design to get much more intricate with some mine carts and maybe even our little friend the Copper Golem down there. But to get started, we really just basically need a bunch of blast furnaces, some hoppers, we'll get to the coal in just a second, and some extra chests. So first off, what we need to do is we need to get into position these blast furnaces, and to do that, really we just, well, actually let's do the hoppers first. So really what's going to happen is everything's going to feed into this chest, and I think I'm going to make 6 wide blast furnaces. So 2 of them are going to go into here, 2 are going to feed there, 2 are going to, ooh, that's 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 1 too many, are going to feed into there, and that means that they have to have a place to feed from. And that is going to come from the output of these blast furnaces. Blast furnaces are much faster and more efficient for ores and things like copper. So if they're being burned in here, they come out the bottom and they get into this chest. Now we're going to have to put some fuel to make those burn. And to put fuel, you can't put them in the back. That will be actually the item. So the item to be burned is good in the back. I'm saying that wrong. The fuel we're actually going to put in manually. I don't want to... I'm confusing myself because there is a system where you can put the fuel in automatically. We're just going to stick it in manually. These hoppers are for the items, and we can just go ahead. This is a really overkill, but because copper takes a lot of copper to make these items, we're going to find a bunch of ores. I'm going to be stuffing them in these chests up top, and then they will filter through these hoppers into the individual blast furnaces. And then all we have to do now, I got a bunch of coal in here. Let's grab a whole bunch of coal. We'll throw a stack each into each one of these 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I did not get a full 6. We still got plenty more. That's okay. Whoa, don't make it all. Just make a good little handful there. Stuff it in there. Put this back in the box. All right. So that is basically the system. The items go in the top, they go in, they start burning, they get burned up, they come through here, and then you can take them out of this chest. Let's demonstrate, since I just said that so fast. I'm just going to take this block of raw copper that I've been collecting over time. That's why this box is orange. It's my, like, field copper collection box, so to speak. We'll throw a bunch in here. Did anything happen? Yes, it's starting to go down. You can see the blast furnaces are on. They are now smelting very quickly. That arrow is going much faster than a regular furnace. And then we quickly see the copper ingots get created and then disappear, and they start showing up down here. So since I have so much raw copper, let's just have a little copper party here. Like, by the time I like a stack of 64 creates a whole stack of 64 of individual raw coppers, and we're just spitting it out everywhere. So we just want to make sure we can fill all of these up. So I'm going to fill them up individually so that they continue to go while I'm gone, because I'm going to be gone for the whole next episode, or until the next episode, coming up with a whole new design for what this thing can look like with the Copper Golem and some mine carts involved. But for now, I think that's about where we're going to leave things off for today, and I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.